So, welcome everyone. A lot of technical troubles before we got to go live, but we made it, and we're here. Sorry, I can't send any tweets because Twitter seems to be down in all of Europe, as far as I've seen. So, okay. Our guest of today is Scotsman Matt on Twitter. Um, yeah, since my Twitter isn't working, Matt, why don't you introduce yourself a little, and so people know who we're talking to?
Yeah, sure. I'm Matt from Scotland in the UK. I'm a theist. I believe in God. And that God I believe in is the God of Christianity, although my in arguments and debates, it's not necessary to demonstrate that God exists. To refute atheism, all you need to demonstrate is any God exists, with atheism being the assertion that no gods exist. So arguments I put forward are not necessarily for the God of Christianity, although that's done as well. I'm not a Christian, just to make that clear. Having a mental belief about something isn't the same as being involved in a religion. The two are distinct. I've been on the debate scene for over 25 years. From moving from inerrancy, King James only, to where I am just now. My interest now is in philosophical arguments for and against the existence of God and related topics. And one of those arguments for the existence of God is called the Kalam cosmological argument, but there is no such a beast. We have Kalam type arguments. There are various formulations of Kalam, the Kalam, and I'm pretty sure that that's it's reasonable evidence that for the existence of God, it doesn't establish with proof God exists, but it provides evidence. Evidence being that which points towards the truth or falsity of a given proposition, so that God exists as a proposition, and the Kalam type arguments can help us. Can seem to me to point in that direction, and that's a true proposition. I think that's sufficient, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I jumped in a conversation you were in, and just asked if you wanted to discuss this live. So, you in that conversation you mentioned the Kalam argument. So can you state, because people seem to have different versions of it, can you state the Kalam argument you're arguing?
Yeah, the Kalam argument exists. I mean, it's a modus ponens argument, so that means that the form of the argument is deductive, although it can be presented inductively. But in its deductive form, modus ponens is if P, therefore Q, P, therefore Q. So that would be if the universe had a beginning, then the universe had a cause. Premise 2, the universe had a beginning. And conclusion, therefore the universe had a cause. You then make an analysis of the nature of that cause, necessary properties of that cause, and that the nature of that cause inferentially by necessity is a timeless, spaceless, changeless, immaterial, uncaused, possibly, depends on which version you use. If you bring in the fine-tuning, intelligent agent who brought the universe into existence, and that's what we recognize almost universally as God.
Mm-hmm. I would have trouble with a couple of the premises that you have right there, because everything that starts to begin must have a cause is I think a premise that's
not a premise that I gave you. If the universe had a beginning, then the universe had a cause. That's premise
Okay.
one.
Okay,
You're
that's premise one. Okay, yeah, now
harking back to whatever begins to exist as a cause.
okay. So, if the universe had a beginning,
Yeah.
it had to have a cause.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second premise?
The universe had a beginning.
Okay.
Therefore, it logically follows by modus ponens deductive argumentation that the universe had a cause.
And what is your evidence for the universe having a beginning?
Well, there's various evidences presented. There's about there's at least 4 or 5 lines of evidences that are presented in support of premise 2. There are philosophical arguments from the impossibility of an actual infinite existing, from the impossibility of forming an actual infinite through successive addition. And there's 2 arguments from science. The first one is from the BVG theorem and the Big Bang. And the second one is from the second law of thermodynamics. So there's 4 arguments there, which are used to support premise 2. So all of those need to fail in order for the premise to fail.
Yes. Well, let's start with the Big Bang.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that doesn't state that it had a beginning.
The Big Bang theory and the BVG theorem takes you back to the Big Bang is just the Big Bang is just another word for the expansion of the universe. So it's not t equals 0. It's t equals 0 would be temporarily prior to that. But a cosmologist like Stephen Hawking would say, we can't get back there. There was a physics breakdown there. So we would be as well calling the beginning of the expansion beginning t equals 0, or the beginning of time. So on that there, the BVG by both Good-Valenkin takes you back to the expansion time, and it basically says that, to quote Alexander Valenkin, that the universe had a beginning. Based on all the available evidence, the universe had a beginning. Now, by universe there, he doesn't mean our observable universe. He means the whole of connected space-time, the whole of the connected space-time region. So it doesn't matter whether there's multiverses out there or there's not multiverses out there. On the definition given by Valenkin, the whole of the connected space-time region, that had a beginning. And that's support for premise 2. Now, where it gets controversial is that Valenkin takes one view of what might be the case prior to the expansion, where he says that if there was anything else on the other side of Planck time, that would be the beginning. But Guth takes the view that if there was anything else on the other side, then probably the universe is eternal. So you have 2 cosmologists who cooperated in the same paper, talking about classical time, and basically saying that classical time on all the models we have seems to be past, it's geodesically incomplete, which means you can only go back so far, it's not eternal. And they then separate on the other side. And with the premise 2, with the Kalam, you're saying basically, well, here's a very noted cosmologist, one of many, who is taking the view that with that theorem on classical time, that even if there was something on the other end of the expansion or Planck time, that would be the beginning of the universe. And that's what you're using there.
It would be the beginning of the universe. You could maybe say that, but it wouldn't be a beginning as such as the universe came.
Huh? Valenkin says the universe had a beginning. He's a cosmologist. Are you a cosmologist?
Yes.
So what? So you are a current scientist, and you're working in the cutting edge field of cosmology.
Yes.
Okay. So what is Valenkin's position? What does he argue for on the BVG paper that's available to anyone to read free of charge? I think it's at Arvix there.
Okay,
What's
but
his
now
argument? Can you
but
outline his argument as a cosmologist with technical terms included? I mean, what is his basic conditional? Since you're a cosmologist, you'll know the conditions upon which his BVG theorem is founded upon.
yes.
Okay,
But
what is it then?
what I'm arguing is that if you have one cosmologist writing a paper on it and stating that it is the beginning, to me, it's as far as I know, it's still not a universal accepted
There is
statement.
nothing in science that's universally accepted. You should know that if
No,
you're a scientist.
I know. Okay, but most cosmologists would say that there is we can't define if there is a beginning, yes or no, because we can't go far enough back. We can
Most
theorize.
cosmologists,
We can theorize what happened before Planck time, but we have no way of investigating what happened, what actually happened before Planck time.
right, that would
And
leave you with
so,
agnosticism. That would mean
sorry.
if you're saying if let's say you've got 100 scientists, and let's say 98 of those cosmologists don't know, and this is the position they take, we don't know whether the universe had a beginning because we can't get beyond Planck time at the present time to establish that. They're agnostic to the question about whether premise 2 is true. And then you've got one cosmologist, so there's more than one because the BVG paper has been accepted by most cosmologists, including Stephen Hawking, etc. So let's say there was just one Alexander Valenkin, he takes a view, no, we can go further than that. We can basically say that if there was anything else on the other side of Planck time, that would be the beginning of the universe. So you've got one who's saying yes, then you've got another 98 agnostic, one saying yes, and another one saying, Guth saying, no, Alex, if there was something else on the other end, the universe is probably eternal. So you've got a divided opinion by the two cosmologists. I'm just using them as an example.
Yes, but opinions don't matter. What
Wait,
matters is what
wait a minute.
what matters. No. What
You
I'm
need to
trying
let
to
me
say is,
finish my statement. When
yes, but what?
when scientists speak about cosmology, when a professional cosmologist, experts in cosmology, speak about cosmology, they are not offering their personal opinion. They are offering their view about the universe and the subject they're talking about as experts on cosmology.
Yes.
That's much more
And
than an opinion.
what I'm arguing is that if you cannot investigate something, then you cannot investigate it.
All you're doing is
So therefore, the only honest answer to give at that point
wow,
is that we can't know for sure
wow. That
because we can't investigate.
that is incredible what you just said. You have basically just called Alexander Valenkin a leading cosmologist at the cutting edge of cosmology, a dishonest scientist, because he doesn't think that. He thinks he can say further than that as a cosmologist. He doesn't agree and wouldn't agree with your statement. And you're saying the only honest thing you can do is be agnostic. Valenkin says, no, that's not correct. And you say he's dishonest.
I'm not saying I'm agnostic. I'm saying
No.
if you come to a point where you can't investigate further, and
And
Planck time
Valentin does
is
not believe we're
Planck.
at that
Planck.
point.
Okay, he can believe whatever he wants.
No. Again, you seem to be. I mean, I'm gobsmacked
At
that you
this,
would. That I'm
no,
gobsmacked at your arrogance. That your arrogance, your blatant arrogance, to challenge
it's not
someone, to
it's not
challenge
my
a new.
arrogance.
It is. It's
It's not my
listen.
arrogance.
It's
No, I'm
arrogance.
going.
Pure arrogance to take your own position, which you haven't given any evidence for, by the way. You've written no papers on that I'm aware of. You've made no responses to Valenkin or the BVG theorem that I'm aware of. You don't even go by your real name. You go by some pseudonym based in Holland in some area there, and then make claims to being a cosmologist.
Actually, I'm going by my real name. My real name is Peter. And the moment we have video, I will unveil my last name.
Okay.
So that's only a question of time.
Yeah, the
But
thing is,
the fact that I'm arguing is not my opinion. It's not my view.
okay, whose view is it then?
It's not me being arrogant.
Whose view is it then?
The common consensus at
Okay,
this
give me a
point.
source for that.
Can I finish
Yeah,
first?
give us a source for that.
Can I finish first?
Yeah, go ahead, but then give us a source that we
For
can
what?
check. That there is a
For what?
consensus opinion among cosmologists that we can't get beyond Planck time, and we should all be agnostic on the question of the existence of whether the universe had a beginning or not. You've just claimed the consensus view is agnosticism.
I said, as far as I am aware.
Okay, so how many cosmologists have you polled on that?
As far as I am aware, and as far as I could find on the internet, is that we cannot investigate beyond Planck time.
Okay. How many cosmologists?
So what you are saying, you're making the claim that someone can investigate beyond Planck time.
I'm
Is
saying
that correct?
I'm saying there's an expert cosmologist called Alexander Valenkin that you should be familiar with, since you claim to be a cosmologist. You should be aware.
I have never claimed to be a cosmologist.
I asked you.
I don't know.
I asked you earlier
I
on in
don't.
the chat. I said, this is what I said earlier on in the chat. I said, Alexander Valenkin, who is an expert cosmologist. And then I asked you the question, are you a cosmologist? And you said yes.
I think you have me mixed up with someone else, because you didn't ask me that question, and I didn't give you that answer.
Well, the good thing is it's a live on-air chat, so people can rewind and they can see what happened for themselves. The point is that I don't believe there's a consensus opinion against premise 2 of the Kalam cosmological argument. In fact, the most famous proponent of Kalam type arguments, William Lane Craig, would say that basically, in relation to the universe, you can find statements, premise 2, which is a theologically neutral premise, in most astrophysics basic textbooks or not. Now, I haven't checked that out because I don't know what textbooks he's referring to. I'd like to know what he's referring to so I can check it out, because I believe in checking sources. But premise 2 is there. You've got, listen to Alexander Valenkin again, speaking as a cosmologist in his book, Many Worlds. He's writing as a cosmologist here, and he says, with the proof, he says, you must have heard the quote from Craig, right? If it take, I think it says, evidence to convince a reasonable man, it takes, I'm just paraphrasing, it takes proof to convince even an unreasonable man. Then he says, with the proof now in place, cosmologists or scientists can no longer hide behind a universe that is past eternal. Now you can disparage that by saying he's giving his
sorry, can you run that by me again? Because
yeah, let me get you the exact quote. I thought you'd be familiar with this kind of stuff.
No, as I said, I'm not a cosmologist.
But you have studied Kalam type arguments, right?
I'm a YouTuber who talks
Oh, okay.
about religion and about several arguments, including the Kalam cosmological argument.
Because you're not a cosmologist, but you feel it's appropriate for you to challenge a leading cosmologist like Alexander Belenkin. Or let's take Lawrence Krauss. He's also a cosmologist. You've heard of Lawrence Krauss, right?
I'm a little bit familiar with Lawrence Krauss, yes.
So Lawrence Krauss, in his informal discussions in Australia with William Lane Craig, at one point when he was pressed on whether he thought the universe had a beginning, he said, "Well, yeah, I would bet that the universe had a beginning." So he would bet that premise 2 of the Kalam cosmological argument's true. Then he said, "But I don't know that for certain." And then William Lane Craig came back and said, "Well, we're not dealing with certainty here. No one is dealing with certainty here." So that's Belenkin and that's Krauss, one of them who's stating the universe had a beginning, the other one who's stating he would bet, as a scientist and cosmologist, that the universe had a beginning. Both of those tend to lend support to premise 2. It does not establish premise 2 as, yeah, okay, there's no doubt in science whether or not premise 2 is true or not.
I think you already discarded the statement that Krauss made, because he, according to you, stated that he cannot be sure of this.
No, he cannot be certain of it. Certainty.
Okay.
No one is dealing. Science doesn't deal with certainty. Nothing in science is certain. All scientific knowledge is provisional.
What do you think he meant by that sentence?
What if you watch the debate and actually spend some time viewing these debates?
No, I'm not. I'm not interested in it. No, I'm not interested in the debate. You said,
yeah,
that Krauss made a statement that he can't be certain of it, and then you said science doesn't deal in certainty. So correct. What do you think Krauss meant?
What Krauss meant, and what is evident for anyone who's seen the discussion, is he believed that when William Lane Craig says he believes in God or God exists, that William Lane Craig is making the assertion that he knows for certain. He knows for certain. And Krauss was saying that although he knows things in a lesser sense, although he can bet on things, although he can, as a scientist, gather information and make provisional assessments about things, that he, unlike Craig, doesn't know for certain these things, and he doesn't claim certainty for these things, which is proper for a scientist to do, because nothing in science is certain. Everything is provisional. But then Craig had to say, well, I don't deal in certainty. I don't claim that God certainly exists. I believe God exists. I have strong confidence God exists. And that's the whole context of the discussion that they had in relation to that. But the main point is that Krauss stated he would bet, as a cosmologist, that the universe had a beginning. That's premise 2. He would bet premise 2 is true.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the evidence that you have for premise 2 is an opinion someone had on something?
Well, if you want to reduce scientists speaking about their expert field of study, cosmology in this case, like Belenkin or like Lawrence Krauss, if you want to reduce that to just giving their opinion, you're entitled to do that. But then what you have to do, well, wait a minute. And I'm going to interrupt.
I'm going to interrupt because if you say that we have a method of investigating what happened before Planck time, where can I find this method?
The BVG theorem and the work of Alexander Belenkin in his book Many Worlds.
I don't care about books. I don't care about books.
I quoted from books. Scientists write books, right? Lawrence Krauss has wrote a book, A Universe from Nothing.
Yes.
Stephen
Yes,
Hawking.
and
Stephen Hawking's written a book
that's
called Grand Design.
that's
Scientists write books.
yes.
Not only that, scientists write
And
scientific
and
papers and they publish
when they
them.
do science they write scientific papers.
Correct. That's why the BVG theorem is a scientific paper that's been published and has been accepted by most scientists. The BVG theorem in relation to classical time is not a controversial thing in science. No one is, Stephen Hawking is not throwing his arms up in the air and saying, no, 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 that's all wrong. Point to me the cosmologists who are saying the BVG theorem, as presented by both Bell and Kalam, is totally out of the way. It was a groundbreaking paper. It
Yes.
showed based on very minimalist conditions that any universe which is in general expanding is not past eternal. If it's
And
not past eternal, it means it had a beginning.
so why isn't it uh, um, accepted, and why isn't it common consensus that we can look beyond Planck time?
Because there are people who dispute that. There are people who believe in eternalist models of the universe. Sean Carroll, for example, the Carroll-Chen model is an eternalist model. There are other eternalist models of the universe
Yes,
where
but
even with
doesn't
wow,
belief go out the window when you have cold hard facts?
there are no cold hard facts about whether. I mean, there are no cold facts that say the universe did not have a beginning. There is only one theory in science about the origins of the universe. That's the Big Bang theory. Everything else,
No,
everything else. Wait a
sorry,
minute.
but you're
You need to start
there,
letting me finish my
there,
statements.
there are
Okay?
more theories,
Okay. Give
so
me an
that's
example.
incorrect.
Wait a minute. How does science define the word theory?
Have you heard of the white hole theory?
I've heard of that hypothesis.
Okay,
You know the
hypothesis.
difference between a theory and a hypothesis?
Yes, it's a hypothesis. Okay,
Right. So
so
the Big Bang is not a hypothesis. It's a confirmed hypothesis. That's
actually
what
it
a
isn't.
theory is, and of course it
Actually,
is.
it isn't.
You won't find a single cosmologist who thinks that the Big Bang is a hypothesis.
It
But
the part of it, the expansion, that
that's what the
for
Big
that
Bang is.
for that we have a theory.
That's what the
For
Big Bang is. The Big Bang is
yes,
the expansion of the universe, nothing else.
um, uh, we can't go to 2.0, so there is still a part open.
Yeah, of course, and that's and
And that's the part that I'm referring to. So that's when I said, have you heard of the
Stephen
white
Hawking.
hole
Yeah,
hypothesis?
hypothesis is not a theory.
No, it's not.
A
And
scientific hypothesis is just a guess, an educated
yes,
guess in science.
as is everything
No, a theory
beyond,
is not a guess.
as is
The
everything
theory of
be
evolution
as
is
is.
not a
Can
guess.
I please finish?
Well, yeah, when you
As is
start letting me finish, you can expect the same back.
as is everything beyond Planck time.
That again, all you're doing is you're reasserting your opinion.
No,
I
I'm not
don't.
reasserting my opinion.
Of course you are. I mean, this is what Stephen Hawking said. I quoted him earlier to you. The laws of physics break down at Planck time. So we can't get back to t equals 0 with the laws of physics. Therefore, we be as well, and this is what he does, we're as well just calling Planck time the beginning of time. He's not fussed about, he's not trying to hide behind the difference between t equals 0 and t, or I think it's t 0.34 or something. You're trying to hide behind this little tiny gap where you think that, oh, maybe before then, the universe is eternal. Well, that's Alan Guth's view. Alan Guth takes that view. Valenkin
I'm not.
doesn't.
I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding behind the gap. I am acknowledging the gap, and you are trying to dismiss it
Absolutely
without
not.
without any evidence.
I've given you two sources, both cosmologists, who don't have a problem with your so-called gap. Alexander
Great,
Valenkin and Stephen Hawking,
great.
who
They
are
have
both
an opinion. They
who are
have an
both
opinion. They
no.
have an
They don't have
opinion.
an opinion. They have a view as cosmologists, which is something you don't have, because you're not
Yes,
a cosmologist. So
correct.
if you make a statement,
And they are not accepted. So therefore, it's
they're
just an
not
opinion.
universally accepted.
No. Why?
Right,
Why? Why?
which means
Why
you've got
would you?
divided opinion.
Why would you think they're not universally accepted?
Because there is ongoing work to be done in cosmology. They're looking for a quantum theory of gravity so that they can go to the quantum level, because the BVG theorem is based on classical time, and scientists believe that in order to explain those earliest moments and the origin of the universe, it's going to require a quantum theory. They don't have one just now. But that doesn't prohibit them from giving their view as experts in their relevant field of study about,
Opinions.
well, you can call it opinion. I'll call it their expert view. When
Yes.
your opinion counts to me more than Alexander Valenkin's, I'll be sure to let you know. Don't hold your breath on that.
If we're going into a field that we can't investigate, my opinion is worth just as much
We're not going into it.
as
We're not
any
going
scientist
into
as any
But we're
scientist
not
in
going
the
into a field. We're not going into a field we can't investigate. Valenkin wouldn't be making the statements he's making as a cosmologist if he was of the view that when you get to Planck time, you can no further comment. And not only that, Alan Guth would not be doing that. Guth takes the view, he doesn't say, here's Planck time, we can't see anything beyond that, so let's be quiet about it, let's be agnostics about it. He says, if there was anything else on the other side of the Planck time, he believes the universe is probably eternal,
yes,
no beginning. So you've got Valenkin with one view as an expert cosmologist, and you've got Guth with another view. So
yes,
there's divided opinion. The
yes,
Kalam arguments,
and both are worthless,
Kalam
and
arguments take
and,
Valenkin's view and say, well,
and
hey, you
both
know what?
and both
It's not
are worthless.
Oh, okay. So let's just repeat that for everyone listening here.
Yes,
The
both
expert
both
the
are
expert view
both are worthless.
the expert views of Alexander Valenkin and Alan Guth with respect to cosmology
Help
are
me, help me,
worthless. And
help me out.
This
Help.
strange guy Peter from Holland, who isn't a cosmologist, who doesn't know the Kalam arguments, who seems to be basically just an internet YouTuber who doesn't do much research on his subjects, knows better. And you should listen to Peter over Valenkin, Guth, Sean Carroll, Lawrence Krauss. Never mind those scientist guys. Listen to Peter, a YouTuber, and you'll get some accurate information. I
Did
don't
I
think
say
so.
so?
No, because
Did,
you're talking pish, you're talking shite.
yes.
Right. So why would I listen to it?
Just like the two cosmologists. Don't they contradict each other?
Yes, they do. That's what I've been pointing out. There is
Great.
divided opinion among cosmologists about whether or not the universe had a beginning.
Okay, so how did you, Matt, conclude which of the two is correct?
I don't make a conclusion on which of the two is correct. I say, given their views, then there is one view that the universe is eternal, past Planck time, Goose, and there's another view that the universe is not eternal. It had a beginning, aka Valenkin stroke Krauss. So I can't decide the matter solely on that. That you then have to take in the other evidences, put them all together, and on the balance of probabilities, make a judgment whether or not you think the universe had a beginning.
Okay, so you have one cosmologist Who came up with the theorem?
No, there was three
All the
cosmologists.
all the other cosmologists disagree with him
That's
because he's not
incorrect.
accepted.
That's incorrect. The BVG theorem is a paper produced by three cosmologists, not one.
By?
Bode, Guth, and Vilenkin. Three
By
cosmologists.
three
Cosmologists. Number three. Bode, Alan Bode. I think is it Alan? No, it's Alan Guth, Alexander Vilenkin, and there's another guy called Bode, Beorde. Three cosmologists came up
Great.
and presented to the scientific community the BVG theorem, and it's been pretty well received by cosmologists. I think even Stephen Hawking.
It's pretty well received.
Yes, that means no one is.
What does that? Does that mean?
What it means is that cosmologists aren't throwing their hands up in the air and protesting against it too loudly. They accept that on classical time and on the BVG theorem, that the universe, any universe that is in principle generally expanding, is not eternal to the past.
I'm trying to find this, and the top results that are coming up is the top result that is coming up for me is Creation Wiki.
Yeah, well, I don't.
And I don't even take the time to go and look what they have to say about it, because
of course not. It's not a point to go and say about it, because
no,
they don't. Let me just check this.
No, Creation Wiki is not a source of science. I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree on that.
But neither are you. We can all agree on that, right?
But I don't claim to be, and they do.
Well, you just claimed it. You just claimed in this hangout that your view is equal to and just as important as the view of cosmologists when they're speaking about cosmology.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, well, people can go back and they can.
Can I clarify what I said?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think you misunderstood me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said, if we are going to have an opinion about something we can't investigate, then my opinion is worth as much as that of any cosmologist.
Cool.
Because
so into the
both of us can't look into that part.
Yeah, okay.
So
you finished? I posted into the side chat a statement for you, okay? Inflationary space-times are not past complete. Okay? What does that mean to you?
I have no clue. I'll let you explain it to me.
So what do you think an inflationary space-time is?
You tell me.
Space-times are universes, right? The universe is the space-time material world.
Space-time are universes.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, if you've got a universe, it's the very definition in science of a universe. Look, listen to Alexander Vilenkin again. When he's asked to define universe, the whole of the connected space-time region. That's his definition of the word universe.
That's his definition.
Yeah. Do you think there's scientists who disagree with that?
I don't know.
Can you cite any?
I'm not making a claim. I'm asking you to back up your statement.
Okay. So
if you say there are that it's accepted in science, then please link me to where I can find it that it's accepted in science.
Okay. Let me give you the link then to this, because you were moaning about Creation Wiki. And rightly so, because we shouldn't be going to that for scholarly sources. That heading in there inflationary space-times are not past complete is the opening, is the heading and the title of that paper I just posted to you, the Bode-Guth-Valenkam theorem. That's a scientific paper.
Yes, it is.
So have you read that paper?
So it's not a
Have you
universally
read that paper?
it's not a universally
Okay, you haven't.
agreed upon definition. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I asked you to provide us with a cosmologist who would take issue with Valenkin's definition. He's been asked he is being asked as a cosmologist.
Yes, and you sent me a link again.
Yeah, and what's that link to?
With Arvind Borde, Alan H. Guth, and Alexander Valenkin.
Yes, that's the Bode-Guth-Valenkin paper.
So 3 people agreed on a definition.
Oh my goodness! Wow, this is the scientific paper you were talking about when you said this is a scientific paper. This is not an opinion. It's not a book. It's not an article. It's not a blog post. It's not a Twitter post. This is a scientific paper they presented through peer review to scientists. This is the BVG theorem that's used in support of the premise to of Kalam cosmological arguments.
It's 4 lines long.
No. Oh my God, that's not. I mean,
you said this is the paper.
Yes, it is the paper. If you go down, if you scroll down, and anyone can. I mean, I'm just amazed at your stupidity. Anyone can search this. You just type into, it's https://arxiv.org/abs/gr-gc//0110012. That's the Bode-Guth-Valenkin paper, and even the introduction there, it starts off, it's under the heading General Relativity and Quantum Cosmology. The title of the paper, Inflationary Spacetimes Are Not Past Complete. Then it gives an abstract of it, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines long. And then
I still can't get past the point. I still can't get past the point where you cite a paper that 3 cosmologists agree upon.
No, they produced the paper.
Yes, they produced the paper. So who else agrees with it? What was the peer review on that paper?
The peer review, as I said, has been generally accepting. So Stephen Hawking, for example, they first presented this paper at Stephen Hawking's 70th birthday celebration. So I'm of the view that Hawking.
That's great because it was presented on his
a famous cosmologist
on his birthday. Because it was presented on his birthday, it's therefore automatically accepted by mainstream science.
No,
that's not exactly how science works.
It goes. I doubt you know the first thing about science, but it goes
for the people who want to watch it. I have put the link in the description, so everyone if you look in the description, people might need to refresh the page to get the description, but I posted the link you just gave me in the description of the video.
And the second link there is to the actual paper. So the first one is to the abstract of the paper, and the second one is to the PDF. And the PDF is to the actual paper. Then you get an abstract there, and then you get you get the actual paper with its with the conditions. It sets the conditions upon which they present their theorem, which is minimalist conditions, and then it goes through all the science, and then it presents you with a conclusion. Now, what do you think the conclusion is?
I don't care. Was it accepted, yes or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not aware of anyone who rejects the BVG theorem. I'm not aware of any cosmologist who would say Guthvalenkin
Great.
and Bohr.
Are you aware of scientists who accept it?
Yeah, Stephen Hawking, for example, Lawrence Krauss, I would believe. I'm when I say I'm not aware of any cosmologists who disagree with it, you can take that as the paper's been presented, and if there was going to be peer review objections to the paper, given what it sets out and the parameters of
Okay,
the paper,
where can I find the peer review?
I don't know where you would find the peer review. I mean, where do you find peer review for anything? I think peer review is when it's put out into what normally happens, I would think, with a scientific paper. It's put out there, and when it's put out there, if there's major objections to what's present in the paper, then that's presented as a counter paper. So you would expect to see another paper coming from another cosmologist saying, something like inflationary space-times are past complete.
where
No
was the
such
paper?
paper exists.
Where was the paper presented for peer review?
What the fuck? What do you mean? I presented you with the link, right?
Yes.
Institute of Cosmology. So at the top there, it tells you, you've heard of MIT?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So it's presented there at the top right-hand corner there. It gives you this. There we go. That's what's at the top right-hand corner of the PDF, which I take to be a reference to where it's been published. Well, that would be easily checked. And you can see down the left-hand column, well, that's 14th of January 2003. That's when the paper was published. So the cosmologists, as far as I'm aware, since 2003, they haven't.
What you gave me is a report number, not a published number.
Again, but what is MIT?
What I'm curious about is the peer review.
Yeah, and the peer review.
And I told you, I'm not a scientist. You claim to have investigated this.
Yeah, Kalam cosmological arguments. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been
and you come up with a theorem that isn't mainstream science at the moment, because
okay, do you have a source from that?
Because most of the scientists still say we can't look beyond Planck time. That's why
do you have a source for that?
That's why we have Planck time.
Do you have a source for that?
No, and I don't need a source, because I don't claim that we can look beyond Planck time. You claim we can look beyond Planck time. What I asked you to produce is the method that they used to look beyond Planck time and to investigate beyond Planck time.
Scientific models of the universe. I mean, I'll give you another scientist just to throw a spanner in the works there. You've heard of Roger Penrose?
Models.
Have you heard of Roger Penrose?
Models aren't based on the facts. Models are speculations. You do know that, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you mean like abiogenesis?
Yes.
Yeah. So abiogenesis is a model. Quantum loop theory, multiverses. How many scientific hypotheses do you want to throw out in this chat? Because all of those are models of the universe. What about the Carol Chen model for an eternal universe?
And are you saying that all those models are correct?
No, I'm not saying they're correct. You don't call a model correct. A model is a model. It can be mathematically correct, but until it's scientifically confirmed, that's what it is. It's a scientific model. It doesn't diminish the fact that it exists. It's what science is saying. Here's a scientific, based on what we know, here's what we think could be the case, and here is what we're looking to confirm. And there are thousands hundreds of thousands of scientific models about various different subjects, from evolution or abiogenesis through to cosmology. And science isn't going to stop them because you don't consider them to be confirmed data. That's not how science operates.
No, I agree. That's not how
science
operates.
So science formulates models. One of those models is by a guy called Sir Roger Penrose. And Roger Penrose is a theoretical physicist and mathematician. And he presents
what you're constantly doing. What you're constantly doing. No. What you're constantly doing is appealing to authority. You're throwing around names. You're throwing around names.
Let's examine that, okay? What your
and you expect me, because I'm not a cosmologist and they are, that they are automatically correct.
Okay.
Which is not true.
Where have I claimed they're necessarily correct for models?
Okay, if they're not necessarily correct, then there is the possibility that they are wrong.
Of course. That's how science operates. Science operates.
Then
everything they believe could be wrong. Science.
Then we can move on. Then we can move on from the theorem.
Yeah.
Because you just stated that it could be wrong.
Everything in science could be wrong. Tell me something in science that could not be wrong.
Great. So now we have...
Can you tell me something in science that could not be wrong?
Now we have confirmation that at least premise 2 of your Kalam argument can be rejected.
No. Just because something can be wrong doesn't mean that you've got rational grounds to reject it.
Yes.
The theory of evolution could be wrong. But just because it could be wrong...
At this point, it couldn't be wrong. There could be details that we still have wrong.
Do you understand how the scientific method works?
Evolution and evolution from common descent is something that is confirmed in so many ways that can be wrong. Parts of it could in a later point be explained differently.
Yeah.
But evolution is a fact.
What do you mean by evolution?
What do you mean by evolution?
Yeah, define evolution as it's defined in biological evolution.
The theory of evolution.
No. See, this is there's a website. Wait a minute.
Change in allele frequencies over time.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it in short.
Yeah. In a population. Yeah, it needs to be in a population.
In a population.
Yeah,
yes.
Don't forget that part. So there's a website called talk.origins. Okay, have you heard of it?
I don't care, because unless you can tell me that the theory of evolution is of any relevance to the Kalam cosmological argument, then we can discuss evolution. If not, we're going to move on to
evolution. What we're discussing is science.
Yes.
And in science, evolution is both a fact and a theory. And the Talk Origins website I was referring you to there, it's an anti-creationist website. So what it does is it takes Answers in Genesis and all these young earth creationist websites and all the claims that they make, and it debunks them. And it tells them, it shows you why they're wrong. So when someone says evolution is just a theory, it presents an article to say, well, no, that's not what theory means in science. Here's what it means.
And
they've got a paper.
How's this
relevant? Let me tell you why it's relevant. Because they have a paper, they have an article on there called Evolution, a Fact and a Theory. And yeah, you're true. the changing the allele frequency in a population over time is a fact, but the theory, the mechanism, is not a fact. It's a theory, and that mechanism might be wrong.
What is a scientific theory?
A scientific theory is a mechanism to describe something observed, like evolution, changing a population in time and an allele frequency. The theory is the mechanism to describe the observation. Do you disagree with that?
What is the definition of a scientific theory?
I just gave it to you. A scientific theory is
a
scientific theory is a well-confirmed hypothesis. That would be it in a nutshell. It's a well-confirmed scientific hypothesis.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell us what a scientific theory is.
And a scientific theory.
And give us a supporting source.
In short, a scientific theory is a body of facts, theories, and hypotheses to explain any part of reality.
Wait. What an interesting word. What's reality? What is reality?
I'll refine that. What we see as reality, of what we conceive as reality.
Oh, okay. So not actual reality.
What's actual reality?
That which is the fact of the matter, that which factually exists, which you don't have the first clue that you have access to, and science doesn't pretend to have access to. Science doesn't speak about reality. Scientific models don't speak about reality. Not on the evidence anyway. But the point I was making is, you can have a theory like the Big Bang theory could be wrong, right?
It could be wrong, yes.
Okay, so if the Big Bang, so what you were saying earlier was, because premise 2 of the Kalam could be wrong, we can reject it. So we just follow your line of reasoning through. If something can be wrong, then we can reject it. You've just said the Big Bang theory could be wrong, therefore we should reject it.
What I'm saying is, a scientific theory is a well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world based on a body of facts that have been repeatedly confirmed through observation and experiment. Good. Such fact-supported theories are not guesses, but reliable accounts of the real world.
Correct, but they could be wrong, right?
A body of facts that have been repeatedly confirmed.
So they can't be wrong.
Through observation and experiment.
Right, so they can't be wrong.
A fact is a fact.
I'm asking you if your view is
unconfirmed fact is a confirmed fact.
Okay. So if
a fact is already confirmed, you cannot reverse that.
Okay, so scientific theories cannot be wrong then.
Scientific theories can contain gaps. Gaps are filled with hypotheses. Those hypotheses need to be confirmed. Okay. That only makes the theory stronger.
Okay, but the question I asked you is,
if the hypothesis is disproven, it doesn't make the theory weaker.
Okay, the question I'm asking you, can scientific theories be wrong given your definition of scientific theory?
The facts in a scientific theory are confirmed.
I'm not asking you about the facts, I'm asking you about the theory. Can the theories be wrong?
Theories can be wrong, yes.
Right, so scientific theories can be wrong.
I'm not saying all theories can be wrong.
I'm asking
But
you.
I'm saying theories can be wrong.
But wait a minute. We're talking about scientific theories, not theories. We're talking about scientific theories, right?
Yes.
So can
And
scientific...
we're still arguing about something that has nothing to do with the Kalam cosmological argument.
What I'm trying to do is get you to answer a straightforward question. Can scientific theories be wrong given your definition of scientific theory?
Scientific theories can be wrong, yes.
Okay, so the theory of evolution could be wrong because it's a scientific theory.
When I say scientific theories can be wrong,
you mean they can't be wrong?
It doesn't mean all theories can be wrong, and it certainly doesn't mean that I'm saying that the theory of evolution can be wrong.
Okay, but
so
wait a minute.
I'm not going to answer that in a positive.
Okay, so this is what you're saying then. So what you're saying is,
let me reverse the question. Let me reverse the question to you.
Yeah.
Do you think scientific theories can be wrong?
Yes, definitely so.
Okay. So now we can definitely discard premise 2 of Kalam.
How so?
Correct?
It doesn't follow.
If you cannot provide evidence that the second premise that you gave me is 100% accurate, then we can dismiss it.
Okay. Can you give me a premise?
I'm not giving you a premise. I'm not giving you a premise. We set up this conversation about
what I'm pointing
Kalam.
out to you is the criteria for a premise being accepted is not being 100% sure about it. That's not the criteria for a premise in a deductive argument.
Have you heard of the burden of proof?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who has the burden of proof? Who do you think has the burden of proof?
Which of us is presenting the Kalam cosmological argument? You or me?
I'm presenting Kalam type arguments as
okay. So who has burden of proof?
I have the burden of evidence for any claims I make, same as you have a burden of evidence for any claims you make. So if you make the claim,
do you have burden of proof of a premise?
If I assert a premise as true, I have a burden of evidence to demonstrate that premise is true. I haven't asserted that the premise is true.
Let's get to the evidence of premise 2.
No. Discussions don't work that way.
Discussion does work that way because I'm the moderator and I'm going back to premise 2.
Yeah, and premise 2, you said this. This is your words. Okay, we can reject premise 2 because you haven't demonstrated it's 100% true.
Yes.
What I'm telling you is there is not a single argument either for God or against God where the criteria for accepting a premise is being 100% true. That's not the bar.
So we can reject premise 2.
On what basis?
On the fact that we cannot demonstrate it to be true.
100% true?
We cannot demonstrate it to be true.
I don't know what you mean by true. What does the word true mean to you? You mean 100% true?
If it is accurate.
Oh yeah, of course we can. I can present evidence that points towards that premise being true. I've done that earlier from Valenkin.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I think I presented at least indication from cosmologists in support of premise 2.
You presented me with a theorem which isn't even an accepted theory. So it isn't even mainstream science. You have 3 scientists and you have people saying something along the lines what they say. So great.
Okay.
To me, that's not evidence.
Of course not. What is evidence to you? By the way, before you answer that, What is a theorem in science? How is that?
You tell me.
Oh, you don't know?
You tell me.
Well, let me post it to you. In mathematics, a theorem is a statement that has been proved on the basis of previously established statements, such as other theorems, and generally accepted statements, such as axioms. So the BVG is a statement that has been proved on the basis of previously established statements. But you're saying it's not even a theory.
Where can I find this?
Oh, you can find this. Let me get the source for you.
And how would you explain that this still isn't mainstream science, and that you can only come up with 3 scientists and maybe one who would agree with it?
This is getting stupid. First of all, it doesn't matter. Papers are normally produced as singular enterprises. So a single scientist, will present for peer review a scientific
I'll make
paper.
it easy. I'll make
Do
it
you
easy
accept
for
that?
you. I'll make it easy for you,
Okay.
because people in the chat are saying they're getting tired of getting the runaround, and I have to agree with them. Can you give me a scientific link to where it states that it is now a proven fact that the universe had a beginning?
No. Why would I need to?
Because that would back up premise 2 of your version of the Kalam.
Of course, that would remove any doubt about the premise. That would tell you, hey, this is just a fact.
Wait, there is doubt?
Of course there's doubt.
Then we can reject it.
Okay, so this is your argument then. If there's doubt about X, we can reject X.
Yes.
Okay, so
exactly.
Is there doubt in science about how life first appeared on this planet?
Irrelevant.
No, it's not relevant, because the answer to that question is yes. And on your reasoning, we can then dismiss it. Because there's doubt about it, we can dismiss it. Is there doubt?
At the moment,
wait a minute.
At the moment, we still don't have 100% confirmation how life arose on Earth.
How much
and we may not be able to find out ever.
How much percentage do you think we have?
I don't care, because this is not the conversation that we're having. We're talking about the Kalam cosmological argument. You just stated for the 3rd time that we have a reason to reject premise 2. And when I reject premise 2, you get mad and you come up with a sidetrack by going to evolution, because, hey, look there. Yeah, well, I don't care about evolution, because evolution doesn't come in your premise 2. If it did, then I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But it doesn't.
What does come in is giving analogies that demonstrate you're talking shite.
Analogies don't help you confirm premise 2.
Premise 2, I'm not claiming premise 2 has been established beyond a shadow of a doubt. I told you at the start.
Then we can reject it as being true.
Okay, so this is your criteria for accepting something. There can be no doubt about it. Yeah?
Knowledge is demonstrable.
Okay, so do you know that you're thinking right now?
Yes.
Can you demonstrate that you're thinking right now and what you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I can be hooked up,
but you're not.
And I can have my brain scanned, and I confirm that I'm thinking.
No.
Yes.
No.
I can do that. I can do that as
Yeah, but it
I
wouldn't
can't
tell
do
us.
that right. I can't do that right now.
All that
But
would.
there are such things as brain scans. I don't know
Yeah.
if there are any
Now.
hospitals around where you are,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
you can have a brain scan. You can actually uh, pinpoint which
Okay.
parts of the brain
Are
are
active. Yeah. Are
are
active.
used
But
for different functions.
okay. But tell me this. What your view is
So
then
we
is that.
can demonstrate. So we
So wait a
can
minute.
demonstrate.
This is what you're saying.
I'm going to finish this. So we can demonstrate that a person is thinking.
Okay. So
Can
what?
I demonstrate? Can I demonstrate that I am thinking now? No.
No. Right. So you
Is
don't
that
have knowledge.
relevant?
Well, wait a minute.
Is
Well,
that
yeah.
relevant in
Yes.
any? Is that
Yes.
relevant in
Yes.
any
Tell me the
way?
relevance.
No.
This is what you said. Knowledge claims are demonstrable, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do
Yes.
you have knowledge right now that you are thinking
I could demonstrate to you that I am thinking.
right
Yes.
now? Right now, you can demonstrate that you are thinking.
So what you're saying is that if there's a possibility for me to show you that I am actually capable of thinking, you will dismiss that because I can't do it now, because I would need you to come to Holland. We need to go to a
Yeah.
hospital. You need to put down the funding because I'm not going to have my brain scanned and to check whether or not I'm thinking yes or no.
No. What I asked you was, are you thinking now? Do you know that you are thinking right now? Your answer was
Is that
yes.
relevant?
Yes. You.
Why?
I hope you know that you are thinking right now.
Why is it
Well, the reason
relevant?
it's relevant is you said knowledge claims are demonstrable.
Mhm.
So if you say, I am thinking right now, that's a knowledge claim. That should be demonstrable according to your standard. But you've
Yes,
conceded, but you've
because I
conceded,
can
wait a minute, but you've conceded, but
because
you've
I can
conceded,
repeat it,
you've conceded, wait a
and
minute,
I can test
no.
it.
How can you repeat your thoughts right now? You can't repeat what you're thinking right now and confirm it. All you could do is maybe in a month's time, we go to a clinic, I pay for it all, we go to a clinic, you get a brain scan. That doesn't tell me that you are thinking right now,
Okay.
today.
Can I ask you a simple question?
Yeah.
Okay. If I ask you a
Yeah,
question,
go
and
ahead.
you answer, if I ask, are you going to let me finish?
I'm waiting for your question.
Okay, then don't
Okay,
talk
go ahead.
over it because then you will miss half of it.
Okay.
If I ask you a question and you answer me,
Yeah.
do you think there's any thinking on your part
Yeah.
to come up with an answer?
Yes.
Have you asked me questions during this talk?
I've asked something a question. Yeah.
Okay, have I answered you?
Something is answered. Yeah.
So can we now establish that I have been thinking right
No,
now?
that doesn't logically follow.
That doesn't
No,
logically follow.
no. I mean, for example, you could be a highly advanced computer system being programmed to listen to.
Yes,
Yes.
I could be a brain in a vat.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to talk nonsense, we can talk nonsense. I can do that very well.
Well,
I do
we
that
can.
every Friday. I do that every Friday on a show of a friend of mine. So I'd
Well,
be
you've been
happy
talking
to.
nonsense since the start of this conversation. So why stop now?
No, no, I'm going to reject your premise too until you can come up with
Yeah.
sufficient
Listen,
evidence that it's correct.
I'm not asking you to accept premise two.
Okay. Then let's move on. Premise 2 is rejected. What's premise 3?
Oh my God, there is no premise three. There's a premise
There's a
one.
conclusion. There's a
There's a
conclusion. Go
premise
ahead.
one. There's a
What?
premise two, and there's a conclusion.
Okay. For the people who
If
by this
dreaming
time
has
have
had a
have have
beginning,
have for the people who have forgotten it, go and state what we have right now.
The premise one is, if the universe had a beginning, then the universe had a cause. Premise two is the universe had a beginning.
No, premise two is rejected, so we can skip
premise two. Well, rejected by whom? Not by Valenkin, not by Kraus, by an internet
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Well, rational people should care.
You gave me enough evidence to reject premise two.
I'm not trying to persuade you about premise two. I'm just explaining to you Kalam type arguments. I'm aware that there are going to be. I'm aware that there are.
And now we have one premise, which is, if the universe had a beginning, the universe had a cause.
Yeah, that's a conditional statement.
So what's our conclusion?
The conclusion is, if the premise two, the universe had a beginning, therefore
premise
the universe
premise two is rejected.
Yeah, by you.
But by you as well.
No, definitely not. I accept premise two.
Definitely, because you said it could be wrong.
No,
and you can
of course it could be. Listen,
you can accept. Listen, there are arguments. You can accept anything. You can accept anything. You can accept anything that could be wrong, but you can't then use that as a premise to get to a conclusion.
Okay. Tell me a premise that cannot be wrong.
I don't care.
You can't give me one.
Because I care about your premise too. And we have now established that premise two.
We're talking about premises. We're talking about the.
And we have now concluded that premise two could be wrong.
Yeah,
therefore,
wait a minute. Now let me clarify.
In all honesty, we need to reject premise two.
Yeah, okay.
So we have premise one. Okay. So what is our conclusion going by the premises that we have now?
Okay. This is what I'm going to say to you. Premise two
is rejected.
Wait a minute. Premise two of Kalam arguments could be wrong. Like the same as 99.9% of premises in any other argument.
I don't care, because we're not talking about any other argument. We're talking about Kalam.
What we're talking about is your unreasonable judgment that if a premise can be wrong, if it can be wrong, we should reject it.
Okay, so let me ask you a simple question. Let me ask you a very simple question.
Yeah, make it
clear. Let's for the sake of argument, pretend that I am willing to give you a car. Yeah, that's premise one. Premise two is the car could either explode during a drive you make, or it could not.
Yeah.
Would you drive it?
You need to give me evidence for premise one.
I said
premise one might be wrong.
I would give you a car.
Yeah, that might be wrong. But that might be wrong. Why should I believe that?
It's not a premise. I said for argument's sake. You don't understand those words?
No, if it's for argument's sake.
Do I need to explain?
You don't
If I present to you a car,
that
could explode while driving.
Yeah.
Would you drive it?
It depends what knowledge I have about you. It depends. Based on the knowledge I have as you, I mean, I don't think I would take a working car from you. No, I wouldn't drive it. No.
Great.
That doesn't mean I've rejected your premise. That doesn't mean I've rejected the possibility that you could actually be genuinely giving me a car that's not going to explode. It just means I'm erring on the side of caution.
If someone else would offer you a sandwich that could or could not be poisoned, Would you eat it?
Depends who the person was.
Anonymous.
No, I would err on the side of caution. But if an expert nutritionist came up to me
and said, I have a sandwich, but it could be poisoned.
Yeah, and if an expert nutritionist came up to me and said, listen, I've tested that sandwich, it's not poison.
We're not testing it.
Well,
we're telling you.
You need
the only thing
for primacy.
The only thing you get is it could be poison.
Yeah.
Or it couldn't be. That's all you get.
Yeah, from an anonymous source, I wouldn't eat it. Yeah.
Great.
What's your point?
So, my point is, your premise 2 could be wrong. So therefore, in all honesty, we have to reject it.
Okay.
It's established that premise 2 is correct and accurate.
Okay. So wait a minute. Here's what I want to say to you.
We can talk about cars and sandwiches and evolution for another hour.
You're supposed to be
hosting
a discussion, not preaching your faith.
It doesn't get us any closer to premise 2 being accurate.
You're supposed to be hosting a discussion, not preaching your faith. Okay?
I'm not preaching my faith because I don't have faith, and I reject. I reject faith.
You have faith. I reject faith
as the most dishonest position to take when it comes to determining what is actually true.
So scientists don't have faith.
No.
All right. Define the word faith for me.
The word faith that you want me to define is, for you, there's only one definition, but there are actually 2 definitions. There's religious faith, there's religious faith, and there's faith.
Yeah.
I reject both because of the
baggage,
because of the baggage of the word.
Define the fucking word, you chicken shit.
And the second.
Oh my God! What an asshole.
Okay, so
define the fucking word.
We're at homonyms now.
Oh my God! You don't even know what an ad hominem is. An ad hominem is when you attack the person rather than the argument. You're not presenting any arguments.
You just called me you fucking chicken shit.
Yes.
And that's not an ad hominem.
No, it's not an ad hominem. You're not presenting an argument. So I'm not attacking you instead of an argument. I'm just attacking you as an asshole. And that's justified. Okay. You're scientifically illiterate. You're logically,
and that's coming from a man. That's coming from a man who is willing to accept a premise that could be wrong.
You don't know how to reason. You don't know science. You don't know Kalam arguments. You don't know how arguments work. You don't know shit. And guess what?
Well, at least
atheists.
You know what?
Atheists will agree with me.
You know what? There's one thing that I excel in, and that you fail at spectacularly, and that is staying civil in a conversation.
Oh yeah, like calling Valenkin dishonest is being civil.
That's civil, yes.
Like constantly over talking me and interrupting my attempted point is civil.
If you're veering off the point, yes.
Absolutely not. Even when I'm on point, you can't know my point until I've finished it. But I don't get to finish it because you've constantly throughout the whole hangout interrupted.
If we're talking
interrupted.
Yes.
I had a discussion. I had a discussion the other week
about a universe. We're talking about a universe that supposedly had a beginning, and you are trying to derail the conversation to evolution.
Scientists believe that. Most scientists believe that.
Most scientists believe that evolution has something to do with the beginning of the universe.
No, most scientists believe the universe had a beginning. Like Lawrence Krauss said, they would bet the universe had a beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's premise 2.
He would bet. And he believes.
Yeah. So Lawrence Krauss would bet premise 2 is true.
Lawrence Krauss can't back it up, and if he could, he would have.
Yeah. But do you think that Lawrence Krauss would bet on premise 2 being true if he thought it could be rejected?
Yes, because Lawrence Krauss
But
is
he
human,
doesn't
and
reject it.
Lawrence Krauss is human, and he could be wrong. So he could be
Oh,
making
okay. So
he could be he could be betting on something that's absolutely wrong. Yes,
and because he could be wrong, we should reject him. Could you be wrong about any of the statements you've made this
because
evening?
be, because Lawrence Krauss is honest, and
Really? Yeah, okay.
he
I'll grant you
doesn't
that.
state that the universe had a beginning. He
With
would
certainty.
bet on it that it might have a beginning.
No.
Yes,
He never
that's
said might have.
those are two different things.
No.
Because I
Why
followed
would you
Krauss.
why would you bet?
I followed Krauss
Okay, my
on a
goodness.
lot of things. And
Like what?
one
Like
thing
what?
I'm 100% certain of is that Lawrence Krauss doesn't claim that the universe had a beginning.
No, he doesn't know it for certain, as he said out of his own mouth.
He doesn't claim it. And why doesn't he claim it? Because he can't back it up with evidence.
Of course not, but he would bet on it, given what he knows as a
I
cosmologist.
don't care if he
Okay.
bets on it.
What do you think what do you think betting on something when people bet, what makes them
Yes.
decide one way or the other?
Whenever, can you give me an explanation when a bet became accepted science?
A bet's not accepted science.
Great. So let's skip the betting.
Why? Why would a
Because
cosmologist?
it's not.
So why would
Because,
a cosmologist make the statement that they would bet that premise 2 of the Kalam, which you reject,
because he's
is
wrong and he's
okay?
dishonest because he can't
Oh my
back up
goodness. Okay.
what he
So
is
wait a minute.
stating.
So Valenkin's wrong and dishonest, and now Lawrence Krauss is wrong and dishonest.
I didn't say that.
And Goethe is wrong and dishonest.
Because Lawrence Krauss, for a fact, rejects the Kalam cosmological argument.
On what basis does she reject it?
On the basis that he throws out premise 2 because he's honest.
Okay. So he throws out premise 2, which is based on 2 arguments from philosophy and 2 arguments from science, and he rejects the philosophical arguments on what grounds?
Because there's no evidence to back it up.
There's no evidence. So when proponents of the Kalam cosmological argument, when they
you yourself stated a couple of times that premise 2 could be wrong.
the same as 99%.
If premise 2 can be wrong,
we should reject it.
In all honesty, we should reject it. Yes.
According to whom?
According to the laws of logic.
Okay, which law of logic says that?
Something cannot be A and not A at the same time.
Okay, so what you're referring to there is the law of non-contradiction, right?
Yes.
So the law of non-contradiction is a thing cannot be A and not A at the same time and in the same context. That's the law of non-contradiction you were struggling to tell us about.
Correct.
There. Now, how does premise 2? So because premise 2 could be wrong, how does that give us a situation where it violates the law of non-contradiction?
If premise 2 is wrong, then the universe had a beginning and didn't have a beginning at the same time.
That's incorrect. No one is claiming that at all.
What is if okay, premise 2 is the universe had a beginning. Yeah. If that statement is wrong,
then the universe didn't have a beginning.
Okay. That's A and not A. You understand that, right?
Yeah, but not at the same time.
Logic has penetrated Scotland in a way that having a beginning and not having a beginning are direct opposites, right?
Not at the same time and context. That's the law of non-contradiction.
Yes.
So if the universe did not have a beginning, then the universe did not have a beginning.
That's in the same context.
There's never a scenario there where the universe both has a beginning and doesn't have a beginning. in the same
context,
context and the same respect.
the context of premise 2 is premise 1 and your conclusion.
Yeah, what's premise 1?
If the universe had a beginning, the universe had a cause.
Right, that's a conditional statement, right?
I'm talking about context. I'm not talking about if premise 2 is wrong, does that automatically change premise 1?
No, premise 1 stays the same.
Okay. So the context stays the same.
The context of the argument stays the same. Yeah, the argument remains in the same structure. It just premise
something
2
cannot be A and not be A at the same time. So we can reject. So we can now reject premise 2 on the law of non-contradiction.
Okay.
So now we have.
How can we do that? How can we do that? Where is anyone postulating the universe is both had a beginning and did not have a beginning? Where is anyone postulating that?
Okay, let's do another thought experiment.
Let's stick to this one. Let's see your evidence for that.
No, because I am the one who's moderating here, and I'm going on to a different point.
Okay.
Let's. You said.
What a dumb.
You said in all. Did you say or didn't you say that premise 2 could be wrong?
Yes, it could be wrong.
Okay.
The same as 99.9% of every other premise in every other argument.
I don't care what you're saying now.
I'm not saying it for your benefit. I'm saying it for intelligent people's benefits.
So premise 1,
if the universe had a beginning, could be wrong.
If the universe had a beginning,
that's premise 1.
It had a cause. That's premise 1.
That's correct. That could be wrong as well, by the way.
Your initially.
By the way, that could be wrong as well.
Premise 2 you initially stated could be wrong. So let's go. And
premise 1.
Let's go with the other option.
Yeah.
The universe didn't have a beginning.
Yeah. Where's your evidence for that?
You said it could be wrong.
That it doesn't follow because I say it could be wrong that the universe had a beginning, that I'm saying I believe the universe is eternal.
I don't care what you believe.
Well,
what I care about is what you can demonstrate.
Well, you mean like you
and you demonstrated in I think at least 3 different ways how your premise 2 could be wrong.
I'm sure you believe that. Okay, I'm sure
we can now successfully dismiss premise 2.
Yeah, and premise 1 because premise 1
I'm not taking up any more time on premise 2. Yeah. I'm going to your conclusion. What was your initial conclusion?
No, the conclusion is therefore the universe had a beginning of its coming into existence.
That's your conclusion.
Yeah, that's what would follow from 1 and 2. It's a logically valid argument.
Wait a minute. So I'm going to restate, and you can tell me if there's something wrong with this.
Go ahead. Yeah.
If the universe had a beginning, then the universe had the beginning had a cause.
Yeah.
Premise 2. Let's, for the sake of argument, grant you that premise 2 is correct. The universe had a beginning.
Yeah.
So the conclusion is
Q. Therefore, the universe had a cause.
The beginning of the universe had a cause.
That follows from 1.
Yes. And where does that leave us?
That leaves you with the universe having a cause. And as I said at the start of the discussion, when I defined the Kalam type arguments, you then make an analysis of the cause, and that gives you necessary properties. So, for example, the universe is defined as the whole of connected space-time region, according to Valenkin. So, because the universe, you can replace that with the whole of the connected space-time region had a beginning.
How do you know this?
definitionally.
What's outside what's outside our observable universe?
According to Alexander Valenkin, the universe is more than...
I don't care. According to Alexander Valenkin,
No,
I care about facts. What's
okay.
outside our observable universe? And
More
how do you know
universe.
this?
More universe.
How do you know this?
Because it's obvious. It's obvious that there's more beyond what we can observe with our limited...
It's not
Okay.
obvious.
So are you saying then that the observable universe is all there is?
I'm asking you how you know this.
I know that through science.
No, you don't know that through
Of
science
course I
because
do.
you just stated it's
Science,
obvious.
science would never accept the ridiculous statement that...
Nothing in science is accepted because it's obvious.
Oh,
Things in
okay.
science are accepted when you can demonstrate it. So
Yeah.
please, please
Okay.
give me,
Okay.
please
So
give me
let's
a
say
demo.
that... Okay. So
Please
how do we
give me,
observe the universe?
please.
How
Do I have to
how do
mute
we
you
observe the
first?
universe? How do we observe the universe?
I don't mute often, but if you
How
don't let
do
me
we
finish my
observe the
question,
universe?
if you don't let me finish my question, I'm going to mute you.
I don't give a fuck whether you mute me or not. Answer the fucking question. How do we observe the universe?
Okay. So, since you are muted,
I'm not muted.
just a minute. So, now you're muted.
No, I'm not.
At least I can talk now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can, when I unmute you, you can give me a method to look beyond the observable universe. So I'm going to unmute you now, and then you can come up with your methods for me to look beyond the observable universe. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's done by science using scientific inference. So, for example,
I don't care about inference. I want a method so I can see outside the observable universe.
That's part of the scientific method.
I don't care.
So, for example, it used to be the case that the accepted scientific theory of the universe was the steady state theory.
Was that the Earth was the center of the universe and the sun revolved around it? I'm not interested in what used to be. I want a method to I want you to give me a method to look outside the observable universe. You have it?
Okay. Yes, I do. Yes. The method is advancements in scientific technology.
That's a non-answer.
That's not. I mean, do you dispute that technology is advancing?
With that answer, can I now see what's outside the observable universe? Yes or no?
No, you can't do that until the technology is advanced.
Okay, you were about to give me a method to see outside the observable universe, and how do I confirm this?
The method is to look at science, look where we were 1,000 years ago with the observable universe.
Science can't look outside the observable universe. So what I'm asking you is that since you obviously can, give me the method that is used to look outside the observable universe.
Do you know what the Hubble telescope is?
It's looking at the observable universe, yes.
And
what's outside the observable universe, and tell me something about it.
Wait a minute. Follow through this line of reasoning. You know what the Hubble...
No. I'm not going to let you deflect anymore. You made a clear statement that you can look. You made a clear statement that you know what's outside the observable universe. So tell me, what's outside the observable universe?
More universe. Unobservable,
Pick
unobservable
one.
universe.
Pick one. What does it look like?
I don't know. No one's observed it. Are you thick? But
So
on
you just made it up.
but on homoge,
So you just made it up, right?
no, in science, there's something called uniformitarianism.
You just made it up, right?
No,
it's not observable. You know it exists, but it's not observable. A little bit like God, I'd suppose.
So you know the Hubble telescope, right?
I don't care about the Hubble telescope. I
So
want you to tell.
if
I
you're
want
not
you to
prepared,
tell. I want
if
you
you're
to
not
pick.
prepared to, if you're not prepared to follow
You
through a
said
line of
you said
reasoning,
there are multiple
if you are
universes.
not
I
prepared to
want you to
follow
pick
through,
one, or I will
if you are
tell you
not,
that you are
if
a
you are
liar.
not, if you are not prepared to follow through in a line of questioning,
You are
become
a
a waste.
liar.
Well, you can think that all you want. When I present this to atheists,
You are a liar. Why should I believe you? You just told me that you had a method to look outside the observable universe, and when I asked you to give me one single detail of what's outside the observable universe,
you won't let me finish what I'm saying.
To give me one detail about the observable universe, you're muted, by the way.
Yeah,
you couldn't come up with anything because you couldn't see outside the observable universe. So which is it? Can or can't you see outside the observable universe?
I've already answered that question. The answer is no. That doesn't mean to say.
So you don't know diddly squat.
Oh, okay.
What's outside the observable universe?
Okay. I think we'll end this conversation here. You're no longer engaging in discussion. You're just engaging in preaching.
No, I'm talking to a pathetic. I'm talking to a pathetic liar.
You're refusing to allow me. You're refusing to allow me to answer your questions.
I'm talking to a pathetical liar who doesn't even have the decency to let someone speak.
Okay, you're muted, by the way. Yeah, you're muted, by the way. I muted you. Now, take a deep breath, take a joint, either decide to continue discussion rationally or fuck off. If you come back in with the same attitude, I will leave the discussion at that point because it's just been a complete and utter waste of time. Seldom have I met such an idiot trying to represent atheism.
Go ahead. Well, you have to take yourself off mute if you want to say something.
Oh, yeah, I just laid it down for you. If you continue with your ridiculous, moderating, disgraceful behavior, then I'm going to leave the hangout. If you want a discussion, it needs to be a discussion. It needs to go two ways. That means I need to follow through on your line of questioning, and you need to follow through on my line of questioning.
Do you know
That's
Matt
what a
Dillahunty?
discussion is.
Do you know?
Yes, a fucking idiot.
Okay, I'm going to do a Dillahunty on you. Bye,
Okay,
sir.
good.
So that was Matt. The first one I have ejected from a call. I hope it doesn't happen more often, but I think I've met the biggest idiot on Twitter. So in the chat, I don't have any words for this. Scotsman Matt is to me the biggest idiot I've talked to so far, and that's saying something because I already had a couple of strange people on here, but yeah, he tops it. For those people who made it through this painful discussion, thank you for your time. As always, Beach Price, thanks for moderating the chat. I think this time you were the lucky one. You had the decent people. I had the moron. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be in another talk, I think maybe this week, so stay tuned. For those who haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and maybe we'll meet another moron like Scotsman Matt. Who knows? Thanks everyone for coming, and see you all next time.